Well, hello everyone, and welcome back. This is Joni again here from Joni's Journals, and we are back to work on our spooky vignette. I kept this one out. I'm not going to show you the other one, the one that's a little bit more morbid than maybe it should be. I thought it was funny. Okay, we are going to begin decorating our little vignette box. And by that I mean we're going to add our edges and our backing, and we are going to add this back. We may have to come back again and do another video depending on how long this one takes. I'm trying to keep the video short and sweet, but yeah, we are going to decorate it and make our own little vignette box. I'm going to leave this one up here on my desk. You can probably just make it out. Excuse my squeaky chair. But I don't want these videos to be too long, so I'm trying to keep them a little bit short and sweet, as I was saying. So we may just decorate the box for today, and we'll see what happens, okay? What you are going to need in order to decorate your box, okay, is you're going to need 2 pieces of paper that are cut at 5 7/8 by 5 7/8. That will be your back for here. And I'll explain about the back for here because I'm going to show you that after. And then what you'll need is 4 strips that are 6 inches long by 1.5 inches wide, and 4 strips that are 5 7/8 by 1.5 inches wide. Now, as I showed you on this one last time, what I used for the edges of my little vignette box are the collage strips that Tracy has included in her kit, and it's called Creepy Creep, and I will link it below. It's brand new, and it is awesome. Okay, so go over to her shop and check it out. But I am using those collage strips to edge my little vignette box. Now, the collage strips, when you first purchase them, come set to print at 92%. Although I haven't done it for this one, and only some of these are printed the way that I did print them because I forgot to expand them, I find that if you print at 95%, if you're able to change the sizes of your prints, if you print the collage strips at 95%, they come out to be just about 1.5 inches wide. Okay, so you'll have to trim them, of course, to the 6 inches and the 5 7/8, but they may give you a little bit better coverage on the size of your box because, as you remember from our last video, this is about 1.5 inches wide after we did all our scoring and put our box together. So yeah, if you print, I'm sorry, I hit you again. Just trying to adjust you. There you go. If you print the collage strips at 95%, they will be just about the perfect size to edge the side of your vignette box. Now, what you are going to need, like I said, is you're going to need 2 pieces that are cut at 5 7/8 by 5 7/8, okay? This is going to fit inside of your box perfectly. Okay, and this is why we inked all of the edges of our box before we put it together, because these little parts in here are going to show just a smidge, okay, because this is 6 by 6, so 5 7/8 by 5 7/8, it's going to leave a little bit of an edge around, and you can see I don't have enough black maybe back there, but that's okay, we can remedy it. Now, I did print my pages 2-sided because I didn't know if which page I was going to use for this or which page I was going to use for my eventual journal cover or maybe my tags. So I printed these double-sided, and I have just picked the side that I want to be my background for my little vignette box. So you can see I just went around all the edges and I added glue, and I am going to lay my little background into my box, and it's going to fit almost perfectly, okay? In this case, maybe I should have added a little bit more glue. It might have given me a little bit more playtime, but yeah. So I have added the back of the inside of my box, okay? And what I have done is I have cut out 8 of the collage strips. In this case, I made them all 5 7/8 inches long. I wasn't thinking while I was cutting. I was getting a little bit bleary-eyed. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take and I'm going to add a collage strip to each side of my box. I'll just put one on the outside, and I'll put one on the inside, and I will probably come back after I have added all of the collage strips. But I'm just going to take and I'm going to add this. Now, be aware, you want your collage strips, if you're using them, to face in the right direction. This is the way that I want my background to be. Okay, I want my stripes running top to bottom and not side to side. So I'm going to glue my collage strip down facing in this direction so that it is faced in the right direction on my box when I stand it up for display. Okay, and you can see, even though I know this one was not printed at 95%, at the standard printing size of 92%, it just about fits, okay? So you can mess with your printing if you want to. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick one and I'm going to glue it onto the inside. And then I am going to go away and I am going to glue the rest of my collage strips down. And when I come back, we are going to make the spooky little back on our box. And I will have everything set for that. So you can see the 5 7/8 length fits just inside my frame, fits just inside my box, and even covers up some of the space where I may not have inked all the way or far down enough onto my corners to cover up the white. So there you go. I'm going to go away. I'm going to glue down all the rest of my collage strips. And when I come back, I'm going to show you how to make the spooky window. Okay? I'll be back in a few. Well, for you, it'll be a few. For me, it'll probably be about a half hour. Okay? I'll see you in a minute. Well, I'll see you soon. And we're back. And I have glued all of my little collage strips onto the outer, okay, and the inner edges of my little vignette box here. And as you can see, I do have a little bit of white showing. So what I do in that case is I take my, I know I shouldn't really be doing this with this pencil in particular, but this is my Stabilo All black pencil. It's a watercolor pencil, but it gives me just what I need, and that's a little bit of a dark edge here. I could actually go back and use some water and make this ink, this pencil, make the box a little bit blacker if I wanted to, but I just go around the white edges here, and I'll pull this back and I'll try to get a little bit of black in here. You could use a crayon, you could use a Sharpie, but if you have any white showing and it bothers you, that's a simple solution, okay, if you haven't inked enough. Okay, now as I said, this is the way that I want my papers to be, and so I have made sure that the sides that need to be directional are facing in the correct position, okay? I have a couple of little collage strips left over, and I do have to tell you, I cheated. Because I knew that these were not printed at 95%, I cut them a little bit larger by leaving a wider edge there, and I don't know if you can really tell, but I went over it with my black ink and tried to cover up the white because I wanted them to be wider than I had printed them at. And you can see that just here, okay, that I did cheat and I cut them a little bit wider. So if you don't have an option to size your prints, that's another way to do it. Cheat and ink, 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 okay? I am just going to take this now and I'm going to turn it over because what we are going to do is we are going to create our little spooky window on the back of our box. And I'm going to show you how I do that because for those of you that know me, you know that I don't like those scalpel knives. And so I cut things with my scissor and I make it work. Okay, this, as I said before, is a page from the kit, and you won't be able to miss it because it's the only one like this with this little rusty box on it, okay? And I figured that that would make a perfect spooky door in order for us to add our little skeleton head. Now, you can also see that on the print, there are spaces where the metal is joined together. And what I do is I use those lines for the areas that I want to cut out to create my door. So I'm going to take my scissor and I'm going to cut up along that black line there. And I'm going to cut up all the way up to the tippy top of my little rusty panel here, okay? So you can see I've cut those. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this and I'm going to cut along this little rusty edge here. And I am going to create my little door. Now I'm going to stop there because that's where our hinge is for our door to open and close. You can see what I did. I'm only cutting around 3 sides of the flap in order to create the hinge for my door, okay? So we've cut up from the bottom and across here. Now I'm just going to cut across here on this line to create my little door, okay? Let's just try to get this straight because on camera, working around my tripod is a little difficult. Okay, so now we have our paper that looks like this, okay? And we have our little door, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it back. Actually, you know what? Let me flip it over because it might be easier for you to see it, okay? I'm going to fold that door back just to the edge, okay? And I'm going to give it a little bend with my nails. And when you turn it over, you can see I creased it right on the line where the panel would be attached if it was a real rust wall. Okay? Now what I'm going to do is I've already inked around all of these edges, so I just want to ink around the edges of my door. Okay? Like so. And so I'm just going to do a quick ink with my black soot. You could use black archival. I do have the jet black Ranger archival ink. But since I don't really think that I'm going to be throwing my little vignette box in the water, I'm not really too concerned about using archival waterproof ink. And so I'm just going to ink the insides of my door. And I'm going to go all the way down onto here where I cut the flap away, and also on to this edge here. And now I don't remember. Nope, I didn't ink that. And I'm going to ink here too. Okay? So this way, all of my exposed edges are inked and everything looks a little bit grungier. Okay. Now, in order to create the area for your spooky little skull to sit, what you're then going to do is you're going to take your box And you're going to make sure you have it facing in the right direction. And again, if your collage strips are facing in the right direction, you'll know that this way is up. Okay? And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little piece of paper here, and I'm not going to glue it down yet because, as you can see on this one, there is a little bit of a background around our skull, okay? So I'm just going to lay this down right here, and I'm going to hold it as securely as possible, and I'm going to flip open my door. And again, I'm just going to make sure that this is straight, okay? So now I have my door open. And I'm going to take a pencil, and I am going to trace around the opening of my door, like so, because I'm going to use this little opening as a, oh gosh, what's the word I want? Well, as sort of like a little directional for me so that I know where I'm going to glue on my little background piece, okay? What I've done is I've cut a piece of paper that is 4 inches by 4 inches to create the background for my window. Now, once you remove your piece of paper, you see you have this little box. The box is smaller than this piece of paper. I don't care. It's not going to show. It's just to give me an idea of where I need to lay down my background piece so that I know that it needs to cover this area so that when you open your door, you don't see any white spots. So I know I have to be around there, okay? And then I'm just going to lift it up and I'm going to make sure, and I know that I need to have my piece of paper be right around there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my pencil and I'm going to trace again, because you're not going to see any of these pencil lines. I'm going to trace around the edge of my piece of paper and I'm going to lift it up, and so now I know that this is where my piece of paper needs to lay. Okay, I'm going to grab my bigger box of PVA glue, which is kind of yucky, and I don't have my wipe around. I don't know what I did with it. And I'm going to put some glue on the back of my little background page here, my little window background. Okay, I'm going to go around the edges and a little bit across in the middle because... And I'm just going to take my piece of paper and I'm going to decide what I want to show where. And I kind of like those little screws there. So I'm going to line up my little background piece of paper with those last pencil marks that I just made. And I'm going to glue down my little background here. Okay? And then we have a completely covered opening for our spooky window. All right. Now what I'm also going to do, and I forgot to do that before, I'm just going to grab this little piece of brick paper that we were using on our spooky tags, and I'm going to pop out a little 1-inch circle. Okay. Because we have to create our doorknob for our opening door. So if you know me, if you follow me, I usually use these little 1-inch circles to cover up where I add a paper fastener. So now I'm going to take my little teeny weeny hole punch, and I am going to figure out just about where the center of this is. And I am going to put in a little hole like so. Okay. I don't know if you can really see it. And I am going to grab, whoops, had a little bit of an avalanche there. Okay. I am going to grab a paper fastener out of here. And I think in this case, I'll use a copper one. Okay. And I'm going to take and I'm going to put my paper fastener through my little hole. Okay. Like so. And that's going to be our doorknob. Okay. I'm going to fold back the legs on my paper fastener. And there's our doorknob. Okay. It doesn't really function well. But it doesn't matter because the door doesn't really stay closed anyway. And then I'm going to grab my little 1-inch circle and I'm going to put glue all around it. Lots of glue to help it stay stuck. Okay, we had a little accident, but that's okay. We're going to cover that up with our picture anyway. And then we're going to take our little 1-inch circle and we're going to cover up our paper fastener. My fingers are sticky now. Okay, so that nobody pricks their finger when they're opening up the little door. Okay. So now I am just going to take a look and make sure, again, which way my box is supposed to be facing. And because our collage strip is in the upright position, we know that we want our door to go on like this. So I am going to take and I am going to put glue all around the edges of my paper. Did I mention that this piece prior to cutting also needs to be 5 7/8 by 5 7/8? If you want, you can make it 6 by 6, the exact size of the box. But I found that sometimes my cutting board is not quite accurate, and I think it's user error more than anything else. And so my 6 by 6 was a little bit bigger than 6 by 6, so I stuck with the 5 7/8 by 5 7/8. And you're going to put glue all around this. Do not put glue on your door. Okay, and then we're going to lay this down onto the back of our box, and you can see it's just a little bit smaller, but because we inked our edges, and if we haven't inked our edges yet, we can go back and ink our edges after. We don't really have any white spots showing. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn this over and I'm going to push down on here to make sure that my paper is staying secure, okay, because we don't want to push down on the other side because our little vignette box is made out of paper and not out of wood, so we don't really want to damage our box in any way. Okay, and you can see you have to go back and push down a little bit more around in certain spots, but you're not really damaging your box now by doing that, okay? And so there you have it, all right? There's your back, and there's your door. And you can bend this and play with it, but for the most part, it's gonna pop open. I'm not putting anything on it to secure it. It's, after all, a little Halloween decoration. I'm not building a house, okay? And then we have our spooky skull, okay? And we are just gonna take and we are going to see how big he needs to be, because I thought I had cut out a smaller one, and I did, but I'm using him for something else. Okay, this guy is a little bit bigger than our opening. No biggie. We're just going to take our scissor and we are going to trim off on this side, okay? No reason why, I just happen to like the design on here better. And so we're just going to take, and we're going to trim him up a little. I'm taking off probably about 1/8 of an inch. And I am just going to grab, because I inked this in vintage photo as opposed to inking in black, because the background on it was a color that was a little bit more similar, or more, does that make sense? And of course I didn't cut it straight. So let's just do a little bit better on that, Joni. Okay, I think that's straighter. I inked the edges in Vintage Photo just because the colors were more similar to each other. Okay, and let's put that back. Whoop! Up there. And now I think he should probably fit a little bit better. Yep, he does. And we are going to center him in the opening as best as we can. Okay, because it is a more of a rectangular shaped piece than a square piece. So we'll just kind of try to center him, I guess, from top to bottom in lieu of centering him from top to bottom and side to side. And we'll just put him like so and set him there. And let me turn him and make sure he's straight. Not that it matters because he's waiting back there to scare us. So do we really care if he's straight? Yeah, we do. And there we go. I'm going to again turn over the box and I'm going to push down from this side because I don't want to damage the box in any way. And so there we have it. Boo, our spooky guy. Okay, so there you have it. We have decorated all of the edges of our box and we have added our spooky window. And in our next video, when we come back, we're going to add all our spooky little dolls. Okay, I want to send you lots of love and big hugs and ask you to please remember to like, subscribe, and comment. And I will see you in the next video when we add all the goodies to the inside, because I've decided that while we had the haunted playroom, and I'm going to show it again, the morbid haunted dollhouse with our little doll here who's hanging on a noose, I have decided that this is going to be the haunted nursery. Okay, so we're going to be using some of the same pieces, but a couple of different ones. Okay, so I'll see you soon. Love, hugs, like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now. Bye. Thanks for watching.